Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Film Club. Just kidding. It's Deep Dark Weeds, episode 14, retconned. Welcome back, Jon-Erik.
Deep
What's
Dark
going on, man?
Weeds.
It's so
Nothing
blue.
much.
It's been a
Been
minute.
too long.
Yeah, man.
Been a minute. Been way too long.
We are back with a vengeance. Deep Dark Weeds
Yes.
2. This summer. I
Part
don't know.
2.
We're back. Technically, we are back in the summer, right? It's been a while since we've recorded, so...
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was almost last spring. It's last summer, fall.
Yeah.
with weapons.
Weapons. It's life, it moves pretty quick, but we're back and we're here to do what we do, talk about horror films and hopefully entertain some people out there in internet land and elucidate you about some of our insights, and maybe if not, you can laugh at us and make negative comments. I don't know. What do people do these days on podcasts?
Do what you will.
Do what you will. Do what you will. But before we hop back into it, John, what have you been watching lately at the movies? That doesn't have to be horror; could be anything. I think we got quite a bit to talk about there.
Yeah. Well, last night I watched Monty Python's The Life of Brian.
Yes, sir.
And that was I hadn't seen that in a while. And then last Thursday me and Ewan saw the new Mortal Kombat in the IMAX screening.
Big screen.
And that big screen, biggest possible screen.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat.
That was
2.
really good.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Won't spoil it for the people out there, but if you are into those games, I would recommend Mortal Kombat 2, no doubt about it. Much better than the 2021 version.
Yes. They really improved. And then what else have I watched? I've been watching a lot of classics. For May the 4th, I watched Empire Strikes Back, and I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a classic that I hadn't seen in years.
Jack Nicholson, great stuff.
Going full circle, going back to our podcast, speaking of horror. I saw Hokum, which
the whore.
That was my Danny DeVito, yeah. But Hokum, which was excellent horror movie.
Horror movie.
Which I don't want to talk about too much. Oh, you just saw it. You saw it yesterday too.
Yeah,
so
I just saw it last night.
We can talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone because I went in pretty blind. I hadn't even seen a trailer for it.
Adam Scott's new movie. Wow.
Yeah, I was really impressed.
Same.
I went in with pretty high expectations because I'd seen the director, his other movie, which I cannot think of the name.
There's something
Caveat
else?
I haven't seen. Oddity.
I've heard that's good too.
Really liked when I watched it. And yeah, Amy and McCarthy. So
yeah, I can say Hokum was really damn good. It's tough because I came out of the movie theater without spoiling anything. I saw it just last night, and I'm like still kind of jazzed about it. Adam Scott was really good in it because I've only ever seen him do funny stuff. And then this was like very well thought out and thought provoking, and it almost feels like a Silent Hill type film. Where
100%.
I wouldn't say it's 100% all the time horror, but it's very psychological and cerebral, right? And then there is a lot of scary moments because there are like a few jump scares in it, but the way the movie starts and ends and the slow burn aspect of it, and you're just getting all in your thoughts about it and getting creeped out. Chef's kiss. It just riled me 100%. Right up. Modern horror that doesn't. Yeah.
Like again, without spoiling it too much, but the elevator, like there was the one scene that I remember, I actually literally got chills just when the elevator, and it's one of those kind of like tropey kind of, it's not going up when he wants it to go up, but at the same time it worked so well because it's like, goddamn, it knows it's doing, it knows it's, he knows what he's doing, and it just creates the tension so well. And I remember just laughing, because not like at the movie, just laughing at how creeped out I was, and like just
Yeah.
being like, oh, come on, come on.
They definitely played with expectations with the timing and some stuff, right?
Yes.
And like the
Yes.
montage theory of cutting into shots, like you have the shots of those little inserts of like the dolls' faces and stuff. Oh man, Hokum,
Yes.
fan-fucking-tastic. Anybody out there, if you're having any thoughts, but go see it in the theater for God's sakes. It's fantastic.
Go see it.
It's great. And anyway, yeah, I think maybe we should get to the meat and potatoes, or maybe the meat, because it feels like you go through the meat grinder watching the classic The Evil Dead. Not Evil Dead, right? It's The Evil Dead. 1981.
Dead.
Since we're back, we're here for talking about the horror. Yeah, let's talk about it. It's written and directed by Sam Raimi. We all love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Doctor Strange what he did the second one, right?
Did the second one,
admittedly,
and a
I
lot of
hadn't
people
seen it.
shit on it, but I can see why a lot of people do I should say, shit on it. But I liked it. I feel like if he had complete control over it, it would have been better. But there were moments where I was like, I can see you trying. You're trying here. You are trying here.
Yeah. I mean, he's made a hell of a
add
career,
some
right?
elements. Exactly, yeah. I would say his most recent movie, Send Help, was a lot closer to his previous works. Like there were a lot of stuff in that, and I wasn't too big on that either. But like there were a lot of shots and stuff in that where I was like, he's the greatest, one of the greatest, because like what he does and his sense of humor, and yeah.
Yeah, he's I mean, even recently, just after preparing for this podcast, I watched Drag Me to Hell for the first time, which I was impressed with. Like I thought you could see a lot of Evil Dead-isms, if you can say such things, right? Because the Evil Dead is
yep.
like obviously this movie, the first one, it's very low budget, 1981. Like the budget, you're only looking at about 350,000 according to the estimates that I found online, which is very low budget for feature film, right? Nowadays they say like low budget for feature films, like, oh, it's low budget, it's only 3 million or 10 million or whatever. I don't even know what they call it anymore, but it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam Raimi has come quite a ways. The movie stars Bruce Campbell as Ashley Williams. They call him Ashley 100 times throughout this before he becomes Ash. Ash. Shop smart. No, that's a later one. Getting ahead of ourselves. The cinematography is done by Tim Philo. See, this is the one I think you guys could tell. We're already going to reference the other movies in the series because this is the one that started it all, and it's not as well. Let's get to that. Let's get to that.
Yes. Yes.
Cinematography and lighting is done by the same feller. His name's Tim Philo. So we just talked about the budget of the movie, $350,000. The gross made about $29.5 million worldwide, which obviously is going to greenlight a sequel, given the, how well it did. And the runtime's about an hour and 25 minutes, so it's a pretty brisk film as well. Like I'd say, rewatching it, it definitely doesn't drag. Right from the get-go, it gets moving.
Does it drag you to hell?
Ooh, Justin Long's batting 1,000 on death. Maybe not that time, though. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but people out there, too bad. It's an old movie. He lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, so IMDb, they gave it a score of 7.4, pretty much overall. And the Letterboxd, which now we're going to start talking our Letterboxd because we're shameless. And, it's good because Letterboxd is kind of, what is it? Like, what do they call it nowadays? What do the kids say? It's like Letterboxd is kind of like Facebook, or is it like the more social media? Like I don't know if it was
film
you
lovers,
specifically.
yeah, for sure.
For film people, right? If you really like film and you're adamant about film, and you're enthusiastic, you're a go-getter for film, you go on Letterboxd because you can read people's cheeky comments like, the dead are really evil, and that's the comments that'll make people laugh, or that's good. But anyway, Letterboxd, we're going woo segment transition. 3.6 out of 5 is what it's rated on there.
That's shameful.
It is, isn't it? It should be a little higher. But you and I have both reviewed it on there, and maybe it's a time we could, discuss our our reviews. And I'm going to read them out loud right now for everybody. So yesterday I kind of did a brief review, and I said an absolute horror classic. The Evil Dead paves the way for the more refined sequel, but the passion and skill is on display. You can see how Sam Raimi and co. had a knack for humor and gags in this film, which becomes even more prevalent as the series progressed with larger budgets and more laughs. And then The Hills Have Eyes really ties the room together, and that's just a little tip of the hat because
Yes, I love that.
Sam Raimi and Wes Craven, I mean, two of my favorites in terms of horror or horror. They did a little back and forth, passive aggressive jokes with each other in their films, right? Hills Have Eyes poster being in the cellar of the Evil Dead, and then Wes Craven putting the Evil Dead on in Nancy's bedroom when Glenn is coming over, right? When she's trying not to fall asleep and she's watching the Evil Dead. And there's another reference that we'll talk about in the Evil Dead 2, and as the series goes on, there's even more. And your review on Letterboxd, Jon-Erik, I really wish I still owned my VHS of The Evil Dead. This movie is monumental in the history of indie films. Hell yeah. Also monumental in terms of its practical effects and horror. I have more love for the second and third in the original trilogy, but The Evil Dead is perfect. Highland Cinema, props to you for dropping that. Local cinema in London, Ontario. Get there. Go see it.
Hell yeah.
Go see a movie there. They're good people who work there too. Everything about it. Highland Cinema is having a double feature of the first two in a few weeks. This is a while back now, you could tell. And I'm bummed I didn't get to. Happy first day of fall, everyone. Hey, I like that. 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up from you. And I liked your review of it. It's better than what Siskel and Ebert, they didn't like it as well. They don't like much horror though, eh? They didn't.
No, but at least Ebert, I don't know about Siskel, but at least Ebert was able to appreciate the second one more and see it. Like he ended up actually liking the second one.
Okay, that's good.
I don't think he liked Army of Darkness though, which is again just like
it's a head scratcher.
But
I think it's
as much as I respect him,
as
a reviewer and everything, it's just like, well, at least he did like part 2 and he appreciated part 2. But yeah,
I think I remember looking up the review for the Evil Dead, the one we're talking about now, and pretty much the only like positive thing they had to say about it was like giving credit to the craft of the film, like how like they made this on a budget, right, and it was still well made. And I mean, yes, you can look at it now and it's obviously dated because it was 1981 and it was low budget, shot on probably 16 millimeter or whatever the hell it was. But
they didn't shoot it on 70 millimeter IMAX cameras.
Not like the new Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Just kidding. Oh my god, I almost cracked myself there. So when did you first see The Evil Dead, and tell me about that, John?
Well, my experience with the whole original trilogy, is kind of funny because speaking of Siskel and Ebert not liking horror, my dad was adamantly like anti-horror movies. He didn't like horror movies. He thought they were stupid or whatever. But when I was really, really young, he rented Army of Darkness before I was able to watch movies, R-rated movies or whatever. But anyway, he loved Army of Darkness. He loved Bruce Campbell. He raved about that movie. And with that, he like made me watch Army of Darkness when I was a really young kid. So then I sought out the other ones. So I watched them in reverse because I had heard that The Evil Dead was more horror, not as goofy and comedic as Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2. So he showed me Army of Darkness, and then I sought out all of Sam Raimi's other stuff. So then I found Evil Dead 2, and then I remember watching that, and then heard about Evil Dead 1, of course, and then ended up watching that third. And I don't think I watched it with my dad because I knew that it was more gnarly and more like just straight up horror compared to the other two. So yeah, that was, I remember watching them in reverse. But the Evil Dead, I loved it, but after watching the other ones before it was kind of like, it is kind of a soft like Evil Dead 2 is almost not even Evil Dead 2. It's almost just a remake of Evil Dead 1, but more comedic. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Evil Dead 2 pretty much does everything Evil Dead 1 does, but better.
Better, exactly. So, yeah, that's. I remember watching it at I used to have Halloween parties with my friends when I was really, really young, and I remember putting it on one of those times. And yeah, I used to own the HGV VHS of it, but I
That
no
same
longer
one I
do.
had.
As
Oh my goodness. We both had the same one with him on the cover with the I think if we're thinking of the
with
same one.
the
With,
classic cover, yeah, the
with the
classic
shotgun
cover
in
of
one
him.
hand and he's got like the cross or whatever it was with right? I think.
No, my cover, he was lunging with blood all over him with the
Oh,
chainsaw.
wow. Okay, we had
That was
different
my
ones. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Yeah, there's a
that
lot
was
of
my
different
cover,
home
and then
video versions of it, I guess, too, right? So,
because then on the back actually had one of the Deadites. You're gonna get in trouble for not knowing who.
oh,
Um, but it had one of the Deadites, and then it had a side shot of him look terrified as you.
as one
But
does in
yeah,
these movies.
as one does. Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, we kind of have a similar history with this movie then, because I remember getting it for the first time. I was a wee lad, and my mother purchased this for me on VHS, and I could play it and watch it because I had my own TV, because I was adamant about, movies since a very young age. And Evil Dead scared the Jesus out of me watching it with the camera work and the music and the setup. Like now, watching it again at this age, not so scary, but I enjoy the atmosphere. And look at the legacy of this film. And considering it's Sam Raimi's feature film debut, let me say that his first feature film, carved a legacy for him, right? Sam Raimi is synonymous now with horror, and Evil Dead is one of it's a franchise that still has movies being made and is very active. Like there's a movie coming out.
Sam Raimi, yeah.
Like he's still collecting, obviously making money on these things, and they're still making quality movies. Like we're going to be getting to the newer ones as we go on through this series, because this is a new season of Deep Dark Weeds. So we're here and we're gonna tackle the whole Evil Dead saga, and I haven't even seen some of them, which you have, so I'm excited to for you to like get my reaction, because it's gonna be what's the new one that's coming out? Is it Rise?
Burn. Evil Dead Burn is the one coming out this summer.
I'm out of my element, Donnie.
And Evil Dead Rise was the latest one that came out 2 years ago, 3 years ago,
which I haven't seen.
And then Evil Dead Wrath is, I think, filming now, or
currently filming in production somewhere.
I think it's coming out in 2027 or 2028. So good on them for because I was a little critical when the original remake came out, because obviously there's no Bruce Campbell, so you think, oh, Bruce Campbell not in an Evil Dead movie, okay, it's gonna suck. And I have kind of a weird relationship with that movie. We'll talk more when we talk about it after rewatching it. But yeah, like the Evil Dead Rise completely blew me away with how great it was. I fucking love that movie.
Say less, because I'm excited to see it and I don't know anything. So I'm going in blind. Yeah. And
so that's, well, I'll leave it at that so we can get back to the OG.
OG, yes. Well, everybody, the critics kind of, Siskel and Ebert weren't too hot about it. I mean, it's got pretty good reviews on IMDb, Letterboxd. Stephen King.
You know what?
I
was just going to say, Stephen King.
He was the one who said
when you get praise from Stephen King, about your movie, and in the 80s, no less.
Yeah.
And you're doing something right.
Was this pre-coked Stephen King, or was he?
No, I think it was during coke.
Because everybody knows about what's that movie he did where he was coked up. He was just doing a lot of cocaine throughout the whole production. Yeah.
Oh my God! Watch the trailer for Maximum Overdrive, and you will laugh. Like, he is just.
But he said it's the Evil Dead is the most ferociously original horror film of the year. So he understood it when it came out. And I mean, a lot of people look at it now, and it's easier to understand the movie when 2 comes out, because the jokes are so much more. I feel like the humor in this film is more so subtle And if you're a fan of horror films,
It
you
is.
already know like
It's
these
not.
stupid kids need to get out of there, right? What are they doing?
Yeah, it's not as prominent as in part two, and obviously Army of Darkness. But yeah, it's because I remember when I watched it as a kid, it actually did scare me. Like
Yeah.
two is still terrifying at times, and it's very creepy. But you're laughing a lot too, right?
Mhm.
But this one, I remember watching it and being like, "Holy shit, this is actually straight up horror." And I think the only part that really stands out for me for the comedy in this one is towards the end when "Shut up, Linda."
Yes.
That's the one part for me that I always laughed as a kid. Like, just be like, "There's the Bruce Campbell, the Ash that we know."
Yeah. He's finally he's starting to have enough of it, right? And he gets
Yeah,
the shit beat out of him in this film. Holy moly, they roughed him up.
in the movie and in real life
In real
too,
life,
because
yeah.
I read If Chins Could Kill. This just shows how much I love these movies. When I was a kid, I read If Chins Could Kill in elementary school, and it was very cool. I want to actually reread it because it was Bruce Campbell really gets into the making of this movie and how much they went kind of like what Kevin Smith did, where they would borrow money from friends and family, and
Yeah.
like they really self-funded it. But yeah,
Like they filmed the whole movie, I think, in Morristown, Tennessee, and I remember, Bruce talked about it in interviews as well. Like it was like pretty much a group of friends, right? Like him and Sam Raimi are friends, and like one of the writers, or I don't know if he had too much to do.
Rob Talpert or Rob, I think his name.
There's a guy, Scott Spiegel, who ends up co-writing
Scott
Evil Dead.
Spiegel, I do remember
He
that.
co-writes Evil Dead 2. Bruce Campbell said they were a group of friends, and they're these three, him, Sam Raimi, and Scott, and Scott goes on to co-write Evil Dead 2 with them. And they were all kind of doing their own thing, as people do, and had different specialties or gear or whatever, right? They brought different things to the table. And so one person would have a good camera, the other had some costumes, and then it's kind of like Evil Dead was a really independent thing. It's a collaboration amongst friends coming together to make something and try to make a go of filmmaking, right? And you can see the Three Stooges type stuff setting up for what will really shine in Evil Dead 2. But yeah, they said like it's an indie film, and they go to people's houses to get money for this film, right? Like
Yes.
it was
talked about that in the book as well.
there's
Yeah.
doctors and dentists and lawyers and people who don't have a lot of interest in, maybe, like, how do I want to phrase this to not sound people who they could sell the movie on, and they wouldn't have them breathing down their neck on set. Whereas when you're working within the system, you have people who are used to making these things and are going to be on you and watching you every day.
Like Ed Wood getting his horror movie produced by a Christian group.
Did that happen?
What kind of movie are you making? In the movie Ed Wood, which I think it's pretty factually correct, but great movie about making movies. But yeah, he Plan 9 from Outer Space was co-funded by, I think, church group, and they all had to get baptized. I'm getting off topic here, but Ed Wood is a fantastic movie. Fantastic movie. Yeah. But that just reminds me, because you're what you said there, that with them going door to door and everything, it's like, yeah, can you imagine being like just a dentist and being like, oh yeah, honey, like at dinner, just being like, I'm producing this movie for some kids called The Evil Dead.
Yeah, exactly. What is it about? It's like in a cabin, and it's like legacy of this movie is crazy that they did it. It's kind of it's the type of stuff that similar to when we talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, and like some of the people like love him or hate him, Robert Shea, without him helping freaking produce. The guy's an OG. Him like refinancing or like mortgaging his house, remortgaging or like putting his house up to get Nightmare on Elm Street made. It's so cool to see that these people got other people to invest in the film and had a very modest budget and still made a career from this, and like springboarded themselves into a trajectory that would carry them for decades. Obviously, Bruce Campbell sadly recently announced he has some type of cancer.
Yes.
The chin is
uncurable, but
treatable
cancer, which is very sad.
Hopefully,
but
hopefully he has some quality of life. He seems pretty optimistic, and obviously our Bruce is a freaking hero to me growing up watching these movies, and he is the chin, man.
Me too. Me
So,
too. Yeah.
thoughts are out with you, Bruce. Love you. Um, yeah, so The Evil Dead, it's essentially, if you haven't seen the movie and you can give like a Spark Notes um, presentation, it's 5 students vacationing to a remote cabin in the woods. Sounds like something we've heard a million times by now, right? Even in 81, they were doing this. And they're going there for some fun, only to read a book they find. It's light reading material, though. It's called the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead, and these fuckers have to open it up and, read it. And all hell breaks loose. So it's one of those movies that obviously Siskel and Ebert, I think, weren't on the inside of the joke. You have interviews where Tarantino talks about, I'm not a huge fan of some of Tarantino's stuff, if I'm going to be frank, like him as a person. But his opinion on this, I can really get behind, in the sense of, you either got it or you didn't. It's like an older generation wouldn't understand the humor in this movie. They would say, oh my God, it's just a movie where people are getting hacked up and the woods are coming alive and the trees are doing this and why didn't they just run away from the cabin? Well, that's the premise of it. It's called movie making. It's called movie magic. If somebody ran out the front door, that's why the Scream movies are made, right? There's tropes for a reason. So we have to have something bad happen so we can enjoy an hour and a half to escape real life. So yeah, I can appreciate that. As a kid, this movie scared me. I didn't laugh at it, but now watching it, I get a laugh. I love them listening to that little audio when he's doing the voice on the freaking audio recorder, and just not stopping playing it. Like, why? But then, okay, well, we have to have a movie, right? And then, of course, it'd be we'd be remiss without talking about the woods attacking scene, which
the famous tree rape.
Yeah, Sam Raimi said he regretted for putting it in the film later, but he didn't want to offend people. He wants to entertain people, make them laugh with thrills and scares. These are his words. So it's like, yeah, maybe he regretted it, and he was a bit too. I think, you know what, if he apologized for it, I'm not going to choose to be offended by that, because he's changed, right? If you make a mistake in your life and you don't continue to make the same mistake over and over, and you're changing as a person or growing, right? We all do stupid stuff when we're younger.
Yeah.
Did
he have anything like that in his later movies? No.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They didn't recreate that scene in 2, right? And I think, honestly,
no.
It is one of those scenes when you watch it now and I'm like, I just find it. It's not that it offends me.
Icky.
It's just stupid.
It doesn't offend me.
I don't
either.
like it.
It's just really no, I agree. It was always one thing that I always remember from the first one too. I think I heard about it before watching it too, about there's a tree rapes a girl in it. And I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, that's not good. And I remember watching it for the first time being like, oh yeah, this is
yeah.
It's not even scary. It's just gross.
It's pretty much with like the early 2000s, body horror not body horror, torture porn / movies, right? Like
torture porn. Yes,
Saw
exactly.
Or Hostel,
exactly,
or they go to extreme lengths, even like Human Centipede or something. They'll go to extreme lengths to gross you out, but it's not really horror, is it? Because there's like 2 schools of thought. Even Sam Raimi says that there's 2 schools of thought with horror when you're making a movie, right? In an interview when I was for this episode, he says, you either want to show the most grotesque thing you can, which in Evil Dead, you do get some grotesque stuff. People get hacked up, right? These deadites, and they get, there's a lot of violence and, body parts being dismembered. It is a horror film, but it's kind of
the decomposing.
Scenes,
like when they're all at the end, that's gross. Like when I see that and I'm like, oh, but it's cool, right? Like you're watching it and you're like, oh, it's so gross, but so like that effect, compared to the tree, that compared to the tree scene where it's just like, oh no, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah,
I didn't know that he did apologize about that, so that is cool.
Yeah,
he even regretted putting it in the movie.
I like it's such a good movie though, because like the legacy of it, and being like, hell, there's a movie called Cabin in the Woods now, right? And that's not a new movie. That's been out how long?
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah. Who directed that one again? It was our friend who did Buffy, wasn't it?
Uh,
Buffy the Vampire
Drew
Slayer.
God. I don't.
Wasn't it
Oh,
Joss Whedon?
he's can't.
Was it Joss
He's
Whedon?
canceled now. I don't think it was Joss. I want to say Drew Goddard had something to do with it,
Oh,
and maybe Joss Whedon. Here, I'm gonna look it up really quick. Cabin in
Drew Goddard. You're
Drew
right.
Goddard.
Yeah. Did Joss
He's
Whedon have nothing to
awesome.
do with
And
it?
yeah,
I'm just misremembering something. I thought
he might have produced. He might have produced it.
I don't know.
I feel
for
like
some
he might have
reason.
produced it.
Anyways, you have.
But yeah, he did produce it. He did produce it. I'm on
Okay.
the Letterboxd page for it now. But yeah,
Okay, so I'm
Cabin
not
in the
crazy.
Woods was essentially like no.
Yeah,
Cabin in the Woods was essentially like Evil Dead, but just parodying the horror genre in general.
in general, yeah. And I mean, you
Yeah.
can look at the Evil Dead now and think about that as like, yeah, it is kind of a, especially as the series goes on, you're playing with more tropes, right? I think it has a great atmosphere in this movie. Of course, why the hell aren't these kids leaving this cabin? And then, oh, we are going to leave, and then things start to happen. Bruce Campbell stated that they didn't even want to cause kids nightmares. They just wanted to take you on a ride for 90 minutes. And I think, that's kind of, I think Evil Dead 2 100% does that. When I was younger, this movie actually scared me.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, these movies are made for adults, right? Like, yeah, I don't mind kids watching horror movies, whatever. That's your own, parenting, whoever wants to show whatever. But like the fact that he would say that about like not wanting to give kids nightmares, like, well, it's not made for kids, right? Like these are made for teens and younger people.
And
just essentially who were making it too. They were young kids who made it. So yeah,
like young like 20-year-old, when they made the film or whatever. But like, I think maybe Bruce was defending in the sense of, because of course, like critics and people who don't actually participate in this, but yet still critique or review things, as often we do in society with critics. They want to point the finger at something when things actually go wrong in reality, right? And be like, oh, horror was the cause. He watched Evil Dead. Yeah, I ain't having it. I ain't having it. But yeah, I love the cabin in this movie, and like the whole vibe when you get there and you get situated in that cabin. It's so atmospheric. It's kind of like the same reason when we talked about The Thing many moons ago, and how I really love that Outpost 31, I believe it's Outpost 31 if my memory serves, where they're all there and you're kind of you're settled in, you feel cozy, even though it's going to go tits up at any moment. But yeah, the cabin was remotely located where they were shooting, and they said it was really rough shooting conditions. The actors, notably Bruce, was hurt multiple times while filming this movie, and you can kind of tell when watching it. Like even when the people get possessed and they have those big, gross-looking contacts in their eyes, those would hurt. And even the actors were saying it hurt to put them in, and they had to get them out, because you could just tell this was like, they didn't have a huge budget, and also the technology back in 81 to have contacts that just white your whole pupils of your eye out are a little, they're not too cozy to wear.
Shove this in your eye.
Yeah. So Bruce was hurt multiple times filming this. He's the star of the movie.
I think I remember reading in his book that when he's dragged, when he gets, maybe this is part 2. I'm getting confused. I was probably actually, now that I'm saying, it's probably 1 and 2 that Sam Raimi did this, but when he's getting pulled and the camera does that tracking shot of Bruce or Ash getting pulled, and you see the trees hitting him, that's like Sam Raimi just whipping him.
Yes.
The certain things, just beating the shit out of his friend.
Yeah, just fucking with him, because hey, that's what friends do, man. You just have fun with each other. You're making the day go by. I'm just gonna whip you with a twig to make it. Hey, we got to make it look real, right? There's an excuse to do it. Come on, Bruce. Which makes the lore of this movie even more fun, right?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently he cracked some ribs in this movie. He was hit in the face with the camera at least once. He was cut when the arm bursts out of the cellar, when one of the Deadites grabs him from the cellar. He was cut during that scene. And you could just kind of tell from looking at this movie, it's a little rough around the edges, but I think that's what gives it its it's je ne sais quoi, if you will say, right?
Hmm.
I love, speaking of this movie and kind of like the legacy of The Evil Dead, something that I really loved about it watching it the very first time was the demonic POV kinetic like camera movement with the weird camera angle. Like it starts off as like a kilted or like a Dutch angle, and that music,
Yeah.
and which is like I think they said it was like a DIY where it's like a POV shot, which I actually, borrow from in some of the shit when I'm filming stuff sometimes, where you get that POV where you're not sure what's looking
Hmm.
at stuff, right? But we're seeing it from a point of view, and this movie is so good at that because the camera starts off and like the first scene of the movie is in the bog, right, or like down in like this
Yep.
ravine, and the camera starts moving and it's doing weird stuff, and you're like, holy moly, how are they doing this? And you have that droning, like you were saying, like the voices, and you're starting to get worried that we're seeing it from the demon. I like to call it the demonic or demon POV, right? And
Yes.
essentially that was a DIY where, because they didn't have money, and like I don't even know if the technology really existed in its new, obviously not newer in present day, but at the time I don't know the technology was there for like super steady cam, or I think they didn't have the budget, because in Halloween they did use kind of a steady cam operation, right? That was 74. So in 81, I think it was just due to budgetary reasons, they had like a DIY POV where they put the mounted camera on a 2x4 because they couldn't afford the Steadicam or the dolly. And then you have that, it's kind of, you get that uncanny valley when the camera's moving and it bumps and jitters a little bit. But I think it just works beautifully in this movie because it adds a production value when you get those crazy ramping up speeds, POV coming through the cabin at the end of the movie, or the camera, like that shot is really impressive because it starts on the ground and then just goes through all the cabins goes through all the rooms in the cabin, and the doors are blowing off the hinges. It was just like, shit, there was some time and effort put into this. And even as a kid, that, at the end of the movie, people could argue, well, Ash is dead, right? At the end of the Evil Dead 1.
Yes.
I don't know.
It basically makes you think that.
Or he's possessed or something, which they kind of
tackle
in the sequel, but we'll get to that when we get to it, right? The possession and all that stuff. And a nice little fun fact I kind of stumbled upon when looking into this movie that I had no clue about. Joel Cohen of the Coen Brothers fame was an assistant director, or not assistant director. That'd be something. Little he was an editor's assistant on this, so he actually was pretty prominent in editing some of the movies, specifically the chainsaw out in the shed sequence. So pretty cool that one of the Coen brothers was part of this in some aspect.
It's funny that you mentioned Wes Craven, because the Coen brothers also have Maniac Cop with Bruce Campbell playing in Fargo. I believe it's playing in Fargo, but they also had like a cool little nod to Bruce Campbell in Fargo.
See,
with
you can't escape the chin, the man, the myth, the chin. Love Bruce Campbell, and Evil Dead was like, obviously man. What else can we say about the Evil Dead? It was so good, so good.
I as a gamer, I always, Nightmare on Elm Street, I brought up the video games. There was a 1984 Commodore 64 video game based on this original Evil Dead.
Okay.
That apparently was fun for about 5 minutes. I never played it myself because it was way before my time of playing video games. But
that's pretty cool.
There was an old Commodore 64 I want to say 84. I should have written it down or done my research more. But Commodore 64 version of Evil Dead, where you play as Ash shutting windows to and this sounds so of its time, but yeah,
that's how you know.
There are more Evil Dead games. I'll get more into those as we go through the series, but yeah, that was the one that I have not played, but that was based on it.
Yeah, there was a one that came out a few years ago. I remember that was fun for a while. That was kind of like an asymmetrical, or not maybe asymmetrical, but more like a Dead by
survival
Daylight
horror one.
Yeah, I think it was just called
Yes,
Evil
I
Dead
do
the
remember
game.
hearing about that.
It was on PS5,
Yes, I do
Xbox
remember hearing about that
One.
too. I think I might own it. I might have gotten it for free as being a PS Plus member or whatever. But yeah,
You could play as the Deadites or you could play as the good guys, and so there was people on
because
each side.
Ash was a character in Dead by Daylight too. I know Bruce Campbell gave his likeness to that.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, it was a fun game. I played it for a little bit. A friend of mine and I, we used to play it together for a little bit, and it was fun for a while because it was pretty
Dead by
true to the
Daylight.
whatever the newest one was called. Yeah, I think it was just called.
Oh, like the Evil Dead game.
Yeah, Evil Dead the game, but I think it's dead now because as with par for the course with a lot of those style games, they come out, they're pretty popular for a little bit, and then slowly they fade out and die because the community, like even I used to play, what was it, the Friday the 13th video game,
God.
which was very much in line with Dead by Daylight. So one person would play as Jason and the rest would be camp counselors and try to escape, which led to many fun times. But the game eventually, the servers die and people don't play it anymore, right? And then
I was awful at that game. I was so bad. I remember being trolled by like some kid as they were playing as I was Jason, and the counselors, like, I was completely what you would not expect Jason to be like in a video game. I was fumbling around and like just after that game where like I'm having like some 12-year-old kid troll me, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this game is not for me.
Yeah, that similar thing happened to me with Texas Chainsaw when that game was like a 3v4. So you have 3 family members who are trying to kill the teenagers.
Yes.
And
that was actually yeah, that was a fun game too.
Yeah, it was all right for a while. And then that game's kind of dead now. They're coming up with the Halloween one. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun for a little bit, but I'm not too sure about it. It looks more, the Halloween one looks more in line with Friday the 13th, which maybe in due course I'll fuck with, but I don't know yet. Yeah, Evil Dead, man. Great movie. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I think you gave it a 5, right?
I almost gave it 4.5, but there's certain movies like The Evil Dead that what you said earlier too about, they're scary as fuck when you're a kid, and then you rewatch them later on, and it's like you start to think, yeah, okay, it is a little dated or whatever. For me, like I think I did actually when I rewatched it a few years ago, gave it a 4.5, but I bumped up my rating because it is just so iconic. There's certain movies you watch and you can't ignore the fact that they're not as good as when you were a kid. You can't ignore certain things, and you have to lower your rating. But like movies like The Evil Dead, for me, I just, they're so important in the history of like horror movies or in movies in general. And like I said in my review, independent cinema, that like I have to give it a 5. It's like it's kind of like a no brainer now for me. That
Well said.
Is it as good as the other two? No, but
I think that's something to be said as well, because we both rated it really high, and it's interesting to see that when some people rate things online and they get so like incensed with the reviews of things where they're like, I can't give it a 5, it's not perfect. I'm like,
yeah,
if you like the thing and it's good and you like, people like what they like, and I see what you're saying about this film as well, because we both love the thing and the cultural importance of the Evil Dead in terms of horror films and horror history. Like, it was groundbreaking for the time, and like even what they're doing now. Like, I saw in the trailer for the new Evil Dead coming out, which you know the title of, and I always we already talked about it, but I fumbled it 100 times. What is it? The new Evil Dead that's coming out soon that we're going to see together in theaters is called
Baby Burn.
Okay, perfect.
Evil Dead.
Oh, the trailer, the Red Band trailer, you told me to watch that, and I'm never going to go near a dishwasher again. That shit is haunting.
I remember seeing the teaser trailer before Lee Crone. Funny enough, Lee Crone did the Evil Dead Rise, but his newest movie was Evil Dead. His newest movie was The Mummy, which essentially is an Evil Dead movie. He literally made a Mummy movie, but he made Evil Dead movie. And that being said, like I love Evil Evil Dead Rise, but his Mummy Evil Dead movie, not so good, not as good.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a teaser for Evil Dead Burn before that, and I remember watching it and being like, it didn't show much, and it was about less than a minute long, and I thought when the title came on, I went, that I don't know how I feel about that. And then the Red Band trailer came out a week ago or so, and I've watched it like 5 times already, or 5 or 6 times, just being like, "Oh my god, this movie looks fucking insane."
Yeah, it looks really
This
good.
looks like an evil.
It looks like it looks like the movies are back, baby. Because I'm stoked to see it, and we're going to be ramping up here in the coming weeks and months because we're going to obviously continue doing the Evil Dead films and boogie in through those because we got some ground to cover because it's been a hot minute. So,
folks, we have what 4 more to do now.
Yeah, we're going to cover all the movies in the franchise essentially. Or we're not going to do Ash versus Evil Dead, the series right now, just for time constraints. But we want to get to Evil Dead Burn, baby, burn in time. So to give you a day one review for the folks out there in internet land. So if you're out there, folks, still listening with the Deep Dark Weeds folks podcast, appreciate you. Give us a like or subscribe or give us a comment on what we got wrong, and I can cry myself to sleep or possibly in the shower so my roommates don't hear me when I'm doing so. That being said, you got anything else to say about The Evil Dead this moment in time?
No, other than it is awesome. It's iconic. What did Stephen King say?
The most ferocious. I should say
what that guy said.
The most ferociously original horror film of the year this summer. Evil Dead Burns.
Hold on. Let me. It's the most ferocious horror movie, original horror movie. No, it's just great. And I honestly cannot wait to talk about 2 and Army of Darkness, because this is a series that the original trilogy only gets better with part 2 and with Army of Darkness.
Yeah. This one
Army of Darkness to me is like a desert island movie. If I had one movie on a desert island and a DVD Blu-ray player, and that one movie was Army of Darkness, I would be okay. I would be happy. If the only movie I could watch for the rest of my life would be Army of Darkness, that is one of the movies where it's like, yeah, this is a movie I could watch every day and be okay.
It's such a short runtime too, right? It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's so brisk. It's like drinking a cold
brisk on a hot summer day with your cousin.
Yeah.
A nod to the Highland again, too. Getting to see Army of Darkness at the Highland on the big screen last year was fucking iconic, too. Was just like, yeah.
Yeesh. I'm jealous. Well, now that I'm back in London, I'll definitely be there for the next one. I'm also just found out by looking on the internet while we're discussing this that the Evil Dead, the one we're discussing right now, is going to be getting a 45th anniversary Steelbook 4K Blu-ray that is coming out on July 7th of this year, 2026 of the Lord's name. 2 months from now, give or take. That's pretty exciting. And that means I'm going to be getting the 4K of it because I do not.
I might have to rebuy it.
How many times have you bought the Evil Dead movies or like Army of Darkness? I was saying that when we watched The Thing, I was kind of in shame because I'm a big supporter of physical media, as are you, as are people who typically enjoy these enjoy movies. It's the best way to watch them and not have somebody else controlling the image that you're watching via the streaming service, right? And in saying that, 4K I'm sure is going to look sick. And I've bought so many of these movies on multiple different formats over the years, it kind of scares me. Like when we were talking about The Thing, I've had The Thing VHS, I've had the Evil Dead VHS, I have Army of Darkness on Blu-ray, I have Army of Darkness Blu-ray Steelbook. And then
Army of Darkness was my 4th ever DVD. I think I can name my top I ever had was Mission Impossible 2. Second was The Patriot with Mel Gibson. Third was Gladiator, and fourth was Army of Darkness. Fifth, Gone in 60 Seconds, I think, was number 5, and after that, it's
all
kind of a
fuzzy.
gray area for me. Yeah, I still remember. You know what I found as a kid, I was this big of a nerd too, is that I never owned Army of Darkness on VHS, crazy enough. No one in my family, I think, did, but the original poster to Army of Darkness is iconic.
Oh, yeah, it's so nice. That
it's
like
so
European, I think,
iconic.
like hand-drawn.
Yes,
so
of
good.
him and like
her holding his leg.
And like, the little ashes crawling up his leg, and just such a good poster. And I remember when I got I probably, because I was a kid, got the DVD as a gift. And I remember looking at the cover, and it was a picture of Evil Ash when he's burying Evil Ash, and Evil Ash screaming.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the cover of the DVD and being like, oh, this is kind of lame. And like, good on them. They had in the slipcover of the DVD. We should be talking about this during Army of Darkness, but anyway, in the slipcover of the DVD, they did have the poster for it. So I put that in. I changed it, but yeah,
it's a nice poster. It's honestly, years ago, a friend of mine,
the Evil Dead.
Yeah, it's Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2. It's got a good one too. I mean, a friend of mine years ago, we went to
Evil Dead
Fan
going
Expo.
back. Yeah, you went to Fan Expo, okay?
And I got the Army of Darkness, that original poster. Like, I still have it in my in storage right now. I don't have it up in my room, but I'd like to get it framed.
That's sick.
And put on the wall one day.
Yeah,
Army of Darkness is a really nice poster. A really nice artwork.
But yes, going back to the Evil Dead, the original, that poster is pretty cool too. Like with the original poster of the girl getting the hand coming out of the ground and choking her, like that. That was
it's great,
creepy ass poster.
And there seems like they're reiterating that in the new one too, with like in the trailer for Burn. There's moments of that that I kind of saw. I'm like, oh shit, they're really referencing stuff in this, and it seems like it's gonna be. I'm nodding my head. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be scary. It's gonna be Evil Dead, you know. You can't see me over here where we don't have video on this podcast, but I was saying it's gonna be, and I'm like nodding happily and like aggressively over here, but you can't see it. But I'm excited. I'm
looking forward to what the 4K will look like too. What the cover of the 4K will look like.
Yeah, it's tough to tell because sometimes they show it online. At least on Blu-ray.com, I'm looking at right now. It's the hand coming out and dragging her with her hand up to the sky, and it's pulling her.
Okay, so the kind of like the OG poster then.
Yeah. Which will be great because we'll love to see it in its original aspect ratio, which you and I were discussing about aspect ratios and the all-encompassing aspect ratios of like back in the day when we had to watch this on VHS for the kiddies out there who don't even know what that is. And you would get these old copies of movies in any way you could get them, right? Because you said you watched the series out of order. You'd procure them any way you could, right? Any way we could when we were younger. And you'd have to deal with stuff that's like not proper aspect ratio or it's a full screen showing of it on early DVDs. You'd have a widescreen or a full screen, but then they're cropping the image. And it's nice that a nice thing about physical media, again, I'm giving you the wink and the gun over the internet, everyone. You know, it's like between you and me, that's what I like about having physical media is you're getting, typically when you're getting a high quality copy of this via DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K Blu-ray, whatever it is, you're getting that proper aspect ratio, which, you know, I'm excited to see this 4K original aspect ratio Evil Dead. That's going to be sick. So I'm excited to see this movie again, and how, you know, it's not going to look super clean due to the nature of how the movie was produced, but it's going to look really nice and preserved, and probably the best it's ever looked, God willing. So yeah, we're going to move forward with the series here, and Evil Dead 2 is up next, kiddies. So like they did with this movie, you know, in several scenes in this film when they got high and they had to reshoot it all. That's a fun little anecdote. I forgot to. I'm just like shoehorning it in right at the end of the podcast, right before we're leaving. They got high. Bruce Campbell said in one scene, and they had to reshoot everything. So maybe don't do that, or we have to listen to this whole episode over again and give it another thumbs up, or tell your nephew
public
to subscribe.
service public service warning. Yeah.
Yeah, like but maybe you know, maybe that would help with watching the new one. I find these movies funny, right? If they could, if they were laughing on set and we're going to be a little method and have a little electric lettuce, who knows? Maybe it would be. The other movies are definitely funny even without any substances involved. So I'm not going to war over that. But damn, these are fun movies, and this is only the beginning. So unless you have anything else to say, sir, I am going to run through a cabin and scream as it cuts to black.
That's it for me. Can't wait to do the next one.
All right. Well, you heard it here, folks. Evil Dead 2 coming soon to YouTube and Spotify near you. Go to the movies, and we'll talk to you soon. Deep Dark Weeds, Brad and Jon-Erik, we are out of here.